What we're going to do tonight is celebrate. Tonight is partly about community, it's partly about celebrating. We're going to look back over 10 years of the Global Brain Health Institute, and we're going to look forward. We're going to look back over 5 years of Creative Brain Week, and we're going to look forward. And I'm not the best person to introduce that. Instead, I'm going to welcome to the stage the site director at the Global Brain Health Institute, Professor Iracema Leroi. If you'd like to join me, thank you.
So this is my first time doing this. And of course, it's a very auspicious year for us because it's our 10-year anniversary, but it's also an auspicious year for Creative Brain Week because it's the 5-year anniversary. And I think it's really important at this point that we sort of pause and reflect of where we've been and where we've come to over these 10 years. And what has emerged because, as a community, we're willing to evolve. So many of you will know that GBHI started in 2015. And it's a very different thing when it was started back then. It was much more of a sort of a dementia clinical training program. And at that point, the narrative was very urgent. The aging population, rising prevalence of dementia, looming crisis, and a biomedical challenge that required a biomedical solution. While these factors still remain true, we are now much more cautious in how we reframe crisis, and instead crisis we frame it as opportunity, and recognize that the challenges extend far beyond biomedicine, demanding complex and much more nuanced solutions. So reflecting this, over this decade, something has shifted in the GBHI community. And guided by more than 300 fellows that we've trained to date from over 16 countries, and also shaped by the realities of societies worldwide, and the challenges that we're facing ever more so than before. We began to widen our lens beyond the biomedical model, to recognize that dementia could not be understood in isolation. Brain health is not merely the absence of disease. It is a lifelong, multidimensional entity, including the cognitive, the emotional, the social, the creative, and even the spiritual dimension. It's shaped by equity, environment, culture, and community. So GBHI evolved from a kind of a structured top-down training program into something that's much more dynamic, emergent, a living, learning ecology. And that's what I'm confident we're seeing now. Less hierarchy, more network. Less perfectionism, more acceptance of the messy aspects of the brain and the mind. Less focus on eradication and more focus on optimization, enabling people to live their best lives. And as we stretch that tent of inclusion, creativity has entered not as a decoration, but actually as a method to address brain health and think about that lived experience as part of what we're looking at. And Creative Brain Week is a natural flowering of that evolution. It reflects our understanding and recognition that science alone is not enough, that art, story, lived experience, and community wisdom are absolutely essential to addressing the complexity of global brain health challenges. It also allows us to embody our values. Our values we talk a lot about in GBHI: authenticity, fairness, openness, respect, courage, and our commitment to equity and inclusion. So over these 10 years, our impact can be measured by the amount of grant money we've raised and the amount of publications we've put out on the scientific front. But I firmly espouse that our most important impact is our people and that global network that we have created with our fellows. And as we like to say in GBHI, our net worth is our network, and that is absolutely critical. And indeed, our impact has a ripple effect. Fellows leading change in their home countries, South-South collaborations, local collaborations, new policies, new partnerships, new ways of seeing, like Creative Brain Week, which allows us to do that. And in fact, Creative Brain Week is one of those ripples. In fact, I would argue it's a wave. A space where neuroscience meets narrative, where performance meets policy, where imagination helps us confront complexity. So now, at our 10-year point, we look forward with great ambition, where the challenge is great, but we also move forward with humility. So this year's theme of thinking better together is thus very apt. And I can confidently say that 10 years on, GBHI has emerged from being a program to an absolute global community and a ripple moving into a wave. And Creative Brain Week is one of those most vibrant expressions. So thank you for helping it flourish, and a very warm welcome. And thank you also to Dominic and the team for making this possible.